civilians is exactly the reason why we're opposed to the genocide occurring in Palestine, in Gaza. But that is the administration's assessment that this was not actually quote unquote anti-Semitism, that this is a direct result of the horrors that we are all watching in our feeds every day. So appreciate you offering your perspective there, Tori, especially since you are on CNN all the time and sort of inside these rooms still. Also wanted to get your thoughts today on a couple things. So we're going to talk about the Diddy trial, which I'm looking forward to, but I also wanted to get your thoughts and Ryan's thoughts on this effort among Democrats to figure out what's going on with the men, right? There's this big, significant conversation that I think is important about the way that men, and young men in particular, have been moving to the right, coming on the heels of a Bernie Sanders coalition that was smeared as being too male and too young and whatever. And then once they, trashed that part of the coalition, it started to shift away from them. So there's this official multi-million-dollar effort to talk to the men and figure out what's going on. And let's go ahead and start with the ladies of The View, and Joy Behar in particular, and her take on this study and what the Democratic Party should really be doing in terms of men.
Look, I don't know that you learn how to talk to men by being in a conference center at a New York hotel holed up with strategists and experts in suits. I think people need to go into the barrios and the neighborhoods and the barber shops and the places where real people are. And I think one of the problems that the Democrats have, several of them, but one of the things is, like, they keep talking about how weak their brand is and how bad their team is. I never met a man, I never met a woman, I never met a human who wants to join a losing team. So maybe start projecting some, winning attitude. And
you know what I think? I think it's a waste of money. Maybe these guys should spend their money on teaching men to not be such sexists. Maybe that's
But the stats don't bear that out now that we've seen the election results. Donald Trump performed better than the previous several Republicans with most every people group. He did better with black men, better with Latino men, better with white men and white women. Like, it's just a fact that he has tapped into something. And what I think
but he was running against a woman, I'm telling you.
But I'm saying that men showed up more for him. Oh, so you think that Democrats who were with Biden in 2020 left to be with Trump because they're sexist?
I don't know the reason, but it's very suspicious.
So, Tori, do we need Democrats to spend more time lecturing men about how they're too sexist? Is that going to bring them back into the party fold?
No, I mean, apparently they feel like we have been lecturing them and telling them that they are too masculine, they are too toxic, they are too disgusting. I understand what these young guys are saying, that the Democratic world, not necessarily just the politicians, but all the people around them who are liberal in public or progressive in public, are making them feel like being masculine is inherently a bad thing, and like being Republican means being strong and being Democrat means being weak. And we've been dealing with that, I think, stereotype for a long time, right? I mean, the Democrats have been the mommy party for a long time, and the Republicans have been the tough on foreign policy daddy party. We have all these sneaky conservative outlets now. Joe Rogan is not overtly conservative, but he keeps giving you conservative ideas, right? Aiden Ross, these others who are not overtly conservative. There's definitely an image problem among men and Democrats we used to be the party of unions. So clearly working guys thought the Dems were there for them at one point in our lifetimes. I'm not quite sure how you get back to that when we love the intellectual Dem, right? I mean, think about Barack from Harvard and Bill for the way. I mean, we love the intellectuals. Even Bernie, as much as we love him, he's an intellectual. There's got to be a different way of communicating with people.
I don't know. Although Bernie worked, Bernie had the young guys across the board. That clip, though, to me was so revealing. That View clip. First of all, Ana Navarro is kind of misunderstanding what's going on here. It's like she's like, you're not going to win over men in luxury hotels. No, they're not going to luxury hotels to win over men. They're going to luxury hotels to shake down rich people for a bunch of money. And then they're going to use that money to do content and stuff that tries to reach what the barbershop and the bars and all that. That's how that pipeline works. But the Joy Behar one was even more revealing. Like, she's like, why would you do this? Because men suck.
It
It's
made
like,
me, it made me more sympathetic to this study, actually.
Yes, it's like,
Yeah,
yeah, it's
just
why
so
you need,
people-
yeah.
It definitely seemed like she had not prepared for the segment because if she had read the notes about the study, she would know you're doing the exact opposite
Yes.
of what Dems need to do.
Well, I don't know. The audience ate it up, which was the other revealing part of what happened there. Let's go ahead and put D2 up on the screen just so we can see a little bit of what the study is revealing so far. So the focus groups found young men feel they're in crisis, stressed, ashamed, and confused over what it means to be a man in 2025. They vented about conflicting cultural messages of masculinity that put them in a no-win situation around the meaning of a man, according to the SAM. What is it? What does SAM stand for again? Speaking
about men, something
about
like that. I don't
something
know.
like that. Put the next piece up on the screen. This speaks to some of what we've been saying for a while. They describe how the COVID pandemic left them isolated, socially disconnected. They said they now feel overwhelmed by economic anxiety, making traditional milestones like buying a home or saving for kids' college feel impossible, one analysis of the research said. And so, and we've got, I think, one more quote we can put up here too. Democrats are seen as weak. You were saying some of this, Torre, whereas Republicans are seen as strong. According to Elise Hogue, who is involved with this, young men also spoke of being invisible to the Democratic coalition. And so you've got this weak problem, and then you've got this, I don't think they care about me problem, and I think the combination is kind of a killer. And to be honest with you, I don't really disagree with any of that. I think the part that's a little like LOL is that you needed to pay millions of dollars to come to these conclusions, which, to me are fairly straightforward and obvious, that when the traditional definition of what it means to be a man is to be a provider, to be able to have the job and make the money and support the family and support the wife and the kids and the house and the picket fence and whatever. And over decades, we've stripped that ability away. That is going to create some upset, some dislocation, and some searching for answers.
It does. It also represents the fundamental problem the Democratic Party has right now, in that for so long we have been about uplifting people who are not traditionally at the table, right? Black, brown, female, working class through unions. That's healthcare, right? That's what we're about affirmative action. We're about lifting up the working class, right? And so that means we are not here for the people in power. And I remember, I think it was like 15 years ago now, Harvard did a study that said, white people see race as a zero-sum game that they are losing, which is just the notion of the people in power. When we start to try to add some equity, they feel like they are losing. They are the victims. They are losing something in society. And here we are again, straight white men, as Democrats try to say, hey, can we also give some power and some peace and some justice to trans people, gay people, women, black and brown people? And they're like, oh my God, you're taking away all my rights. Like, we are literally not, but that's how you feel.
I think it's a question of whether or not there's a welcome place in the coalition for white guys. And, I grew up a poor white guy, and in the 1980s and 1990s, the place for those people, and the place where I would feel at home, was within the Democratic Party. There wasn't any question. Like, the Republicans were the party of Reagan, the party of George H.W. Bush. They were the party for rich people.
Country club.
Yeah.
Yep.
Now I'm an upper middle class white guy, and the Democrats are still the party, where a white upper middle class guy is going to be welcomed in. Welcome also in the Republican Party, white middle class guys. Upper middle class guys. They're welcome everywhere.
Welcome everywhere, Ryan.
Welcome everywhere. But if you're a poor white guy now, like, it does not feel like the Democratic Party kind of wants you in there. And Joy Behar is saying, like, right there, and I don't think it's just white either anymore. Democratic Party, Joy Behar is saying men are sexist. Like, stop being so sexist. Do we really want these men in here who are going to be sexist?
We're going to need some of them if we're going to win an election.
Yes, exactly. And so I think this uproar about this study, I think it's worth unpacking where it comes from, because if you think about it, it's the Republicans, when they were losing with women, they went out and studied women, tried to figure out how to win them back, and that was comical. But what was comical about it was not that they were trying to win them back, but it was that they had to study them in the first place, that they had gone so far around the bend that they had lost women so badly